Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Luke, let's wait about 20, 30 seconds here for people to pop in. We're already over 100 participants. How you doing today?
Dude, I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm excited about this.
Hell
Drank
yeah.
my Monster energy drink, which I know is not good
Oh
for
my
you.
God.
And I know I already talked too fast, so probably won't serve me, but I needed a little extra energy. I have two young kids. One is 3, one is 11 months. So the
There you go.
11-month-old William was up a lot last night, let's just say.
Well, you look energetic. If I did a Monster or Celsius, I would be so rattled right now.
Yeah.
Every time I've done one of those, I feel like it's the peak of my anxiety. So I just stick with coffee. All right, I'm gonna do a little intro here, and then we will get started. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another value-packed BAM webinar. Let me know what market you are tuning in from in the chat. We have almost 300 people in here already. We had over 1,600 people, Luke, sign up for this thing. So clearly there's a thirst for this type of knowledge on how to actually market to your sphere. Thirsting like the Fremen on Arrakis. I don't know if you've seen Dune, but they literally have to
I have
drink
not, no.
it's so good. They have to drink their own tears because they're thirsting so much as they're meandering through Arrakis. Anyway, I am Eric Simon, aka the Broke Agent. I am honored to be joined here by the president of the president of Reminder Media, the co-host of the Stay Paid podcast, a marketing savant, the Jedi Knight himself, straight from Tatooine, aka Philadelphia, Luke Acree. Luke, how you doing today?
Dude, I am doing fantastic. I saw a Gina, I think it was from, if I read that right, Westchester, PA, which is not too far from where I'm located. Because technically, I'm outside of Philly in a place called King of Prussia. Don't ask me who the King of Prussia is. I have no idea, but I'm technically a little bit outside the city. So good to see some other PA Philly people on this webinar.
Hell yeah. Welcome. Welcome from all places of the universe. There we go. All right. A little housekeeping here to answer the question that is always asked. Yes, this will be recorded, of course. Yes, it will be sent out to everyone who signed up no matter what. So even if you are missing it, obviously you're not listening to me saying this right now, but you will be getting a recorded to an unlisted link. And yes, of course, Luke, BAMX is the best platform to learn how to convert your followers into actual leads. And from now until the end of the day, because you are watching this webinar live right now, you can use code FIT, because this is the FIT marketing framework, for 15% off the BAMX membership, which gets you access to all of our courses, trainings, mastermind, and community. We will drop a link in the chat right now. Sign up for the next 24 hours, 15% off. It's an absolute no-brainer to do this. Incredible content in there. So now, Luke, there is a problem that I see in this industry. And it's a lot of agents are so focused on cold leads that they neglect their sphere, right? So why don't we get into the FIT marketing framework and how to actually market to your sphere? I will sit here. I will try to answer some questions from the chat, and I will just try to not look stupid. So crush it, Luke.
Yes.
May the force be with you. How about that for an intro, huh? That was all ad-libbed, by the way.
Killing
the
it.
Arrakis line, Dune, Tatooine.
I'm going to hear you next. You're going to say you are my father. I think that's going to be the next thing that you say.
Exactly.
Dude, I am so excited for this. Really honored, I would tell you, to be a part of the BAM community. I'm going to share my screen with you guys now. So you guys can see that. And please make this interactive. Eric, chime in as much as you want.
I will.
I've done so many webinars that I know webinars can get stale and boring. I would love for you guys to chat in, make it interactive. My goal from this is to bring as much value as I possibly can. A little bit about me. So I run a marketing company called ReminderMedia right outside of Philadelphia. I've had the privilege over the last, decade to help about 136,000 real estate agents. Done about 150 million in direct mail marketing campaigns, pieces going out, and then 500 million emails going out in marketing campaigns. Done a bunch in the podcast world and also content and social media. And the reason why I share this is not to impress anybody. It's just to impress upon you. Everything I'm going to share today is stuff that I am practicing with my own clients and ultimately how I've grown Reminder Media. So Reminder Media, I've grown to be a $70+ million business a year. And so many of the principles that I teach literally the real estate clients that I have and fulfill for them in marketing, I use to grow my own business. And I think that's important to say because it means I really believe it. And, we'll dive right into the content. I think a picture's worth 1,000 words. And this picture kind of describes the pain point you were talking about, Eric, which is when I look at a real estate agent's business, this is what I tend to see. What happens to them is the bucket's the business, the water's the clients. They go out there, they know they got to fill up their bucket with water. They got to get clients in the door. And so they start cold calling, postcards, Facebook ads, Zillow, Fizbos, you name it. Nothing wrong with those things. I've done them before. I teach agents how to use them. But the issue is that the average agent, the big mistake that they're making is that they spend all of their time, energy, and money trying to fill up the bucket. And their bucket has holes in it. And if you ever felt like, I know we got a ton of response from the Instagram channel to that one meme you posted of the lady basically cussing people out for the cold call. And people hate cold calling. Chat in if you hate cold calling, because I'd love to know if the audience hates cold calling. I know some of you love it, right? But if you hate cold calling, you can chat in and let me know.
Look at all that hate in the comments. So much hate in the comments. I love it.
There you go. So the problem is this: if you ever feel like you're on a hamster wheel, if you ever feel like you're in this grind in real estate and you can't get out of the grind, the big issue I see is that agents are constantly chasing their next deal versus building a business that ultimately attracts. In the beginning years, you might have to grind and chase more, but if you do it right and build a brand, you'll eventually get a business that attracts. But here's the issue. The pain point is agents are spending all their time, energy, and money up here. This is where their focus is. And there's this great story of Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. Maybe you've heard it before, where they went to Bill Gates' father's house. And Bill Gates' father asked Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, he said, what was your key to success in business? And he asked them to write it down. And they both wrote down on separate pieces of paper, not talking to each other, the word focus. They both wrote down that word as one of their keys to success. And so my goal in asking or sharing that with you guys is to really ask you the question is, none of these things that you're filling your bucket up with are wrong. It's not wrong to cold call. It's not wrong to do Fizbos. It's not wrong to do these other lead gen methods. But I would just challenge you to go, are you putting the right priority on these lead gen places? And your priority, in my opinion, should be on your bucket. Because if you feel like you're on a hamster wheel and you're pouring water into the bucket, you're cold calling. If you stop cold calling, if you stop chasing the leads and you stop putting water in the bucket, what happens to the water in the bucket? It just goes out. Right? So you constantly feel this pressure. So you got to plug these holes in the bucket. So here's what I would challenge you to think about, right? I want to sound more intelligent than I am. So I'm going to use a quote. Albert Einstein said, if he was given a problem, he would spend 55 minutes trying to figure out the right question to ask, and then 5 minutes solving the problem. So what's the right question? If all of you want more listings today, what's the right question? I think the question is, where do the listings come from? And you're seeing the slide on the screen that I've put in front of you. NAR puts a lot of research out there every year. You guys are probably familiar with their home buyers and sellers report that they put out. This is not Luke Acree's data, ReminderMedia's data, BAM's data. This is NAR's data of looking at where the transactions are sourced from. And their latest report said 65% of sellers, so 65% of listings, found their agent through referral and repeat business. So you look at all these other lead gen places we spend our money. But yet the biggest portion of the pie is here. So now audit yourself real quick as a gut check and ask yourself, is 65% of your focus here? Is 65% of your money that you spend on marketing here? Right? That's the point. If you take nothing else away, I want to make sure that you change your perspective where you're no longer looking at the cold leads. You are looking towards the people you know. And to share a quick story with you guys as I kick this off, right? About 6 years ago, my brother was working in a call center in Lynchburg, Virginia, doing financial aid. This is actually a picture of their financial aid call center. And he was miserable. We were talking every single night. And he eventually said, Luke, you know what? I think I'm going to get into real estate. And I was like, man, this is fantastic. Yeah, get into real estate, because I was at a crossroads in my business. So 6 years ago, I had a little bit of doubt seep into what I was doing. So we've worked with thousands of clients. We had hundreds and thousands really of testimonials at this point. But I let doubt creep in to go, hey, is what you're doing today and preaching, Luke, and this framework and everything you're teaching and evolving on, does it actually work? And I don't know about you guys, if you ever get doubt in your business. If you get doubt in your business, it's kind of like a crack in your windshield, a little nick. And if you don't take care of the nick in your windshield, what happens when you go down the road of life and you hit the potholes? It starts to spread. and it starts to grow. And that doubt then starts to consume everything you're doing. So when Steven, my brother, was like, hey, I think I'll get into real estate, I was like, light bulbs going off. Man, this will be perfect. I'm a marketer. That's what I love to do. But this will give me the ability to really test boots on the ground. Is what I'm preaching and what I'm doing actually working? And for the last 6 years, I've been really able to get into his business and grow with him. His first year in the business, he did 35 well, if I can get my actual clicker to work, he did 35 transactions his first year in the business. So pretty good for a first year agent. His second year in the business, he did 78 transactions. His third year in the business, he did 100 transactions. And then he did 190 his fourth year as he started to build his team. Then his fifth year, as he started to get a team up under him, I think he has 14 agents now on his team. He did 320 transactions in his fifth year in the business. Now, again, I don't share. I am very impressed with my brother, Steven. He doesn't even take my advice anymore, right? When you get, I guess, successful, you get good. But I share this to go, yes, I am very impressed with Steven, but I share it to say, hey, I am so convinced on this framework that I'm going to spell out for you guys. I promise you, if you implement this in your business, you will have results if you do the work. The best system is the one you use, right? So there's no magic formula. The best system is the one you use. So what I did was I looked at, okay, all of the direct mail that we've done, all of the email marketing campaigns that we've done, all the Facebook ad campaigns. What is it about the successful campaigns that they had versus the ones that failed? What was the difference in those? And as I looked at the campaigns, what Josh, my CMO, and I started to recognize is there was really three things that every successful campaign that we ever ran in our business and in our client's business and in Steven's business they had. And we boiled it down into this acronym we called FIT. And my concept here is like, look, if you're out of shape, you got to get in shape. Now, this is my attempt of trying to be like the broke agent and put a humorous slide on the screen. So there you go, Eric. I did that for you.
Send me the slide. I'll work on this one for you.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So if you guys could tell, I'm definitely not, that's not my skill set. That's not my talent. But if you're out of shape, if you're not getting the referrals right now, NAR would tell you that in your database, all of your past clients should be giving you at least one referral. And 20% of your database should be giving you 4 or more referrals. So if you have 100 people in your database right now, there's 100 referrals that you could be getting. Are you getting those referrals? We find over the course of mailing just our magazine to clients that we see a 31% referral rate over the course of sending 12 months. Why do I state that? Because just in that one touch point, you send to 100 people, that's 31 referrals. So I want you to think to yourself, how many referrals did you get last year? Are you tracking them? Do you know what they're coming from? And are you getting the number of referrals that is out there in your business? And so if your marketing is not getting the referrals that you need these 3 pillars. So let's start with the F. So the F here, it stands for frequency. So I chose this word frequency because it has 2 meanings. Frequency in the number of touch points, and then also frequency in the channel of touch point. So I want to talk about the number of touch points. So here's my question to you. How many touch points do you believe you need to have to keep in touch with your database? Go ahead and chat that in. How many touch points should you have a year? Is it, once a month? Is it 2 a quarter? Is it, now I know out there in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, I think it said 33. How many touch points do you believe you should have? Read some of those out, Eric.
Yeah, 24, 36, 48, 40. Someone said daily. That means 365 touch points. Is that person out of their mind?
Who said daily?
Oh, they're right. Let me see. Let me find this person that said daily.
I'm just curious who said daily. So here's what I'll tell you. I usually don't give magic formulas, but every time I give a talk and teach on this subject, this is the one place where I break my rule and go, hey, there is a magic formula for the number of touch points. We've been at this for 20 plus years now, doing this with thousands of clients. The one thing I know to be true, and you can write this down, here is the number of touch points you need in order to generate more referrals in your business. Write this down. The answer is, ready for this? More. That's the number. More.
You got me there.
M-O-R-E.
I thought we were getting an actual number. Someone said 1,000 touch points in the comments. People are just trying to one up each other.
Yeah,
it's like
everybody's now just trying to one up each other.
Exactly.
Or if you're doing 300 touch points, you should actually be doing 301. If you're doing 12 touch points, you should be doing 13 touch points. If you're doing 20 touch points, you should be doing 21 touch points. What I tell people, bare minimum from what I've seen over the years, You should be trying to get to a bare minimum of 26 touch points a year. That's one every 2 weeks. You're in front of your database. So that's your starting point, 26 touch points a year. But it's really easy to do too little touch points. It's almost impossible to do too many. And the reason why I say that is think about, your most important relationships. This is a relationship business. It's a relationship business. So think of your most important relationships. I think about my wife. How many times do I have touch points with my wife? I was texting her earlier today. I saw her this morning. I'm going to see her this evening. Throughout the day, I might have a phone call with her. I have thousands of touch points over the course of a year with my most important relationship. So it is almost impossible, if this relationship is important to you, to have too many touch points. It is so easy to have too little. Now, I'll give you an example. So Steven, in his business, he does 70 touch points that are automated for his business. So he does 4 client events a year. He does 4 quarterly phone calls to his database. He has 6 branded magazines going out. He has a bi-weekly email newsletter that goes out for him, and more. So he has 70 plus touch points that's going out to his database. But what I want to also show you is over the last decade, I've had the privilege to work in about 140 different industries. So my love is real estate. That's where I got started. It's where the majority of my clients are. But over the years, as we've grown ReminderMedia, we've worked in literally 140 different industries, from caterers, interior designers, attorneys, accountants. So I have this perspective on the consumer. Meaning, like all of us, we have a widget that we sell or we have a service that we offer, but how does the consumer respond to the service that we provide? And I want to give you an example of a guy outside your industry. This is a client of mine, Brian Harris. So Brian Harris is top 1% in the world of financial advisors. I believe he's up to like $1.5 billion that he manages for his clients. Brian Harris does 275 touch points a year for his database. 275 touch points a year. So if you want an example, so Brian Harris, he sent this to me in a text. This kind of breaks down what he's doing. So as a financial advisor, he's doing 52 touches weekly commentary. So he has a weekly commentary that he does for his clients that's once a week throughout the year. He does our magazine for his clients. He does these workshops and client events. He does all these different touch points for his clients that equal up to be 275 touch points a year. Now, some of you are probably thinking to yourself, wow, that seems like overkill. I don't know if I buy into this. That seems like spam. Now, here's what I want to tell you about what Brian Harris does that you need to look at in your touch points. It's not just about the frequency of touch point. So it's not just about the 275. It's also about the channel of touch point. So Brian Harris doesn't just do, as you can see, 275 emails. He doesn't just do 275 direct mail pieces. Brian Harris does 275 touch points spread across multiple frequencies. Why is this important? So I learned this from my friend Jason Pantana, and I interviewed Jason on the podcast. So we were always, and I was sharing with him what we do and, the things that we have. And he shared with me the psychology behind the power of having multiple touch points. And I had never broken down the human psychology side. So if you've never heard about the frequency illusion, it's really familiar or similar to the phenomenon that you experience when you go to buy a car, and then all of a sudden you start seeing that car everywhere. Has that ever happened to you, Eric, where you start seeing the car everywhere if you try to
I've never bought a car.
You've never bought a car.
No. Yes, that has happened to me. Absolutely. Or if I'm looking at some sort of product online, I see it everywhere. It's following me. The ad's following me. I see other people using it 100%. It's called like the halo effect of advertising also.
Yeah. So here's the key thing, right? Is you see the car everywhere because it became important to you, right? Your brain is processing hundreds of thousands of data points and thoughts a day, but it does not let those thoughts come into your purview, as you know. The only things that it lets come in the things that are important. So when you go to buy that car, it became important to you. So it registered in your RAS system, and now you see the car everywhere. The frequency illusion is a similar phenomenon that is so powerful for marketing, which basically states if someone sees you on 2 or more frequencies, their brain makes it think like it sees you more than it does. Why is this important? We'll go back to that research that we looked at the beginning. 65% of all sellers are coming from referral and repeat business, but 81% of sellers interview one agent. 81%. So what does that mean? That means if you're not first in the mind of the client, then you're not going to get the business. I heard this stat the other day that blew my mind. 49% of consumers right now in your database are connected to 5 other agents in their sphere. 49% of consumers. So if you think you're going to get the business, know that at least half your database today knows 5 other real estate agents that they could use. So the key to Brian Harris's frequency is that he's spread across the 6 different frequencies of marketing. So I have them here on the screen for you. There's 6 different frequencies that you can tap into. There's the email inbox. There's the direct mailbox. There's face-to-face. So I mentioned that I do a podcast. So we have a podcast called Stay Paid. And so we're about 500 plus episodes in. We have amazing people on like Eric, the broke agent, Byron Lazine, a bunch of other, stellar people in the industry. But here's what's interesting. After doing it for, 5, almost 6 years now, what we have seen the last 2 years come out of Stay Paid for lead gen, specifically for generating referrals, is client events. Client events have been one of the number one things we keep hearing from top producers when it comes to actually generating a touch point and a referral from their sphere. So if you aren't doing client events, I would highly, highly recommend doing client events. We actually put together some resources for you guys. You can scan the QR code or go to remindermedia.com/BAM resources. And you can get access to some ideas for client events. One that is super popular that I've seen a lot of people do is they do a photo shoot for their clients. So they invite their clients for a free photo shoot, like a family photo. And then for their top A-list, their top 20%, they actually print out the photos, frame them, and they give them to their top 20%. So now every time you're on the mantle or hanging on the wall, they remember you as the agent. So there's things like my brother just did a pie event. I have a really cool hack for you here in just a second on that pie event. Ice cream truck, renting that is super popular. Easter is coming up. So doing like an Easter egg hunt for your community has come out on our podcast. But face-to-face is an insane frequency that you should be tapping into for your sphere. The other one that has popped up actually a ton too that surprised me is pop buys. So I had to put good old Brian Buffini on the screen. Love Brian, appreciate his work. He's the one that taught me all about the pop buy. But I'll tell you about one of my clients, Garrett Maroon. So Garrett, he's out of Virginia. He is purely referral based. Like this is his thing. This is what he does. He has about 287 people in his database. He got 88 deals last year from literally 300 people basically in his database. All referral based. And one of the things he does quarterly is pop buys. So on that resource page, I also gave you guys a list of the pop buys that we are seeing people do. So if you want a list of different pop buys, you can actually go listen to Garrett's episode on pop buys and exactly what he does, actually what he does when he goes to the door. All that stuff is there on the podcast for you. But I would encourage you, don't ignore the face-to-face frequency. It is absolutely critical. You also have voice-to-voice. So if you saw Steven's 70 plus touch points, 4 of those are he's calling his database once a quarter. So once a quarter, he's calling his whole database to interact with them, to have an actual conversation. And then social media is another frequency that you should have in your touch point system, right? So when we look at social media for Steven, there's 2 things that we look at. One is we look at his automated posting. So this is in his system. He basically schedules out, it's all automated for him, all these posts that go up on his social media. This was the month of February. And then he knows he's consistently posting to his Facebook, to his Instagram. And then now all he has to worry about is doing the authentic content, which is the real win, is actually doing some authentic stuff of posting selfies or talking about his day, doing his stories. So he does organic, but he also does paid branding ads. So here's what I would share with you on Facebook paid advertising. Right now, you can take your database, you can upload it to Facebook to build a custom audience, And you can target those people that are in your database right now with a branding ad to your database to stay top of mind with them. So not only will they see you posting organically, but Steven has an ad that follows them around the web that basically thanks them for their referrals. And it's just his brand as a billboard in front of them. So those are two things that he's doing to capitalize on this social media frequency. And I apologize, my clicker is really acting up on me. So I'm trying to click to the next slide, but it's not going. The last frequency you have in marketing is text messaging. So I usually call this screen to screen because this can also be a video message. But my goal in outlining these 6 frequencies for you is for you to go and look at your database touch points right now. And the 2 questions I want you to ask yourself from frequency is, 1, do I have at least 26 touch points? And how do I build upon that to get up to 70 plus like a Steven or 200 plus like a Brian Harris and make those automated so you don't have to do it? And then number 2, am I on multiple frequencies? The more, the better, because it creates that frequency illusion, which elevates me in the mind of my clients. Now, here's the thing. You can't just have one of these pillars. You can't just be frequent. If you're frequent just with junk, it's going to do the opposite effect that you want. So when Josh and I looked at these marketing campaigns that we're doing, I've done a lot of frequent marketing campaigns that haven't worked. I have slammed people a ton of times and it hasn't worked. So what was it about the marketing campaigns that had the frequency? What else did they have? And that's where these other letters come in of I and T. I stands for impact. You must be frequent, but you have to be frequent and create impact. Impact is driven, in my mind, in marketing through personalization and quality. The more personalized, if you want marketing 101 is about relevancy. The more relevant I am to Eric, the more Eric will actually pay attention. So if Eric, is into hiking and I actually send him an article on hiking, he's definitely not into hiking. You can see him shaking his head. If he's into hiking and I send him an article on hiking because it's relevant to him, he's interested in it, he pays attention. The reason why I want you to underline this if you're taking notes from a marketing perspective is because the number one mistake I see people make with their marketing is they market all transactional. They market all business oriented. And what happens to people is, hey, I worry about real estate every 7 to 11 years, let's say, when I move. I don't think about real estate very often other than that. But yet the only things you're sending me are things that have to do with real estate. So what happens? I tune it out. This is why when they get your postcard or they get your email, they don't really open it. They don't really engage. They just send it or they just delete it or throw it in the trash can. You have to create content that actually creates impact based upon the things going on in their life. So what I always challenge people to do is I give them this acronym. And this is an age-old acronym in networking. Has anybody heard of the FORD acronym before? So chat in if you've ever heard of the FORD networking acronym before. I actually gave this to my wife the other day. We had a company party and she was nervous because she's an introvert. And she was like, man, I'm nervous to have conversations with people. And I said, hey, babe, you just use the FORD acronym. When you talk to people, just talk to them about their family, talk to them about their occupation, talk to them about their recreation, and talk to them about their dreams. So what's the action item out of this? The action item out of this is if you want to create impact with people in your marketing, if you want to create impact with people in your phone call conversations, go to your CRM right now, pull up your database and ask yourself, if Eric's in your database, do I know Eric's family? Do I know what he does for work? Do I know what his hobbies are? Do I know what his dreams are, where he's going, what he's trying to accomplish in his life? Especially, maybe you can't do this for all 3,000 that are in your database, but that top 20% that's responsible for driving 80% of your business, do you know these 4 pillars on these people? Because I guarantee you, if you know these 4 pillars, you have a solid relationship with this person. And this is where people make a mistake, right? 81% of sellers choose the first agent they interview. That means they're actually not seeking the best real estate agent. You think they're choosing you because you're the best real estate agent. They're not. They're choosing you because you were the most convenient to find, or they knew you and they had some connection to you, because you wouldn't see a stat like 81% choosing the first agent they interview if they actually cared about interviewing the best real estate agent.
How do you
What they
think I
care
ever
about is
got business?
connection.
How do you think I ever got business, Luke? It's because I
Yeah.
had friends. You think they chose me because I was the best agent in Los Angeles? I don't think so.
Exactly. I like to believe you're the best. I like to believe you're the best.
Was the best. Yes, exactly. Now I'm the best meme creator in the world. That's what it is.
Exactly. Well, let's tie it together, right? So tie
Yep.
it to your touch points, right? Because this is stuff, hopefully it's a good reminder for some of you, but I want you to take action on some of this. So you guys can't see this sign behind me because I'm kind of blocking it, but it says take action. And the whole idea here is, what could you do? Well, look at the 6 frequencies of marketing. Texting was one of them. Imagine right now, if personalization drives impact, I challenge everybody, do a 5 for 5, take 5 minutes every single day, pick 5 people in your database and actually text them and say, hey, Eric, was thinking about you today, man. We haven't caught up in a while. We got to grab coffee soon. Loving your memes. I just saw your latest meme on XYZ. I thought it was amazing. And just text that to him. That's a touch point. It's personalized based upon something that he's into. And now I get to have a conversation. I promise you this, if you wake up tomorrow and every single day for the next 30 days, put 5 minutes on your calendar to just pick 5 people and send them a simple text message based upon just engaging in conversation, you will be blown away. Over the course of 30 days, you'll hit your whole core advocates in your database, and you'll lead to conversations that will open up the opportunity for you to talk about real estate. But let's say you want to go straight to real estate because you want a listing. Here is what so many of my clients are doing right now that I would challenge you to do that is working. I call it the CMA a day. So Jimmy Burgess is somebody, he's the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, Florida, someone that I've interviewed and gotten to know on our podcast. And he coined that term for me, the CMA a day. I'm sure he got it from somebody else. But the whole concept is, wake up tomorrow, pick 5 people in your database, reach out to them. And if you want to send them something that actually will resonate with them, you personalize it. So why not offer to them a free home evaluation of what their home's worth, and actually ask them, hey, what do you think about the price of what your home's worth? And you can simply reach out and go, hey, I was looking at homes in your area. And, I remember, obviously, you've been in the home for 2 years. We haven't caught up in a while. I was actually blown away what your home's worth today. And then you could say something like, I think it was Jimmy Mackin who said, you can say something like, hey, I have my opinion on it, but what's your opinion on it? And shoot them that simple text message. What we don't do in real estate, even though we all know it's a relationship-based business, we all know it's a contact sport. What we do is we go grab our money and we throw it into cold leads, and then we cold call all day long, and we don't realize, no. If you're just disciplined and you actually wake up every single day and just have conversations with people, and you just don't have to do it in text. Social media was another frequency. Pull out your Instagram, DM people on Instagram, go to their wall on Facebook, comment on their photos on Facebook. You will be so surprised how those simple things will lead you to deals. So I'll give you the example. Garrett Maroon, I told you, him himself, 300 people, 88 deals. He has an agent on his team now. His hobby was fishing. So what he did strategy-wise was created a fishing Facebook group. And he got a bunch of people at his church, I think it was, and friends of his, and they started this group around fishing. And he's gotten the majority of his business, 30 plus deals, from that fishing group that started as a recreation, right? A hobby, and it led to real estate. This is the key. Like, if you want to create impact in your marketing, this is the key. So what type of content should you be sending to create this type of impact? I call this the 3 E's of content. So if you're wondering, hey, well, Luke, what do I post? What do I send to be able to connect with people in their family, occupation, recreation dreams? I tell people the 3 E's of content: education, entertainment, endearment. If you're taking notes, I should have 26 touch points on multiple frequencies, and those 26 touch points should create impact by being educational, entertaining, and endearing. So 60% of your touch points are going to be education-based. 60% of that 26 is going to be leaning towards education because you want them to see you as the knowledge broker. So education is like that CMA that we just talked about. Education is, hey, this is what you can do to your home to increase the value. Hey, here's a market report of what's happening in the area. Don't just stop there. That's where most agents stop. Entertainment, one of the most popular pieces of content we have is our local events email. So we do an email newsletter for clients, and we curate the local events that are happening in your community. And so I have about 200, I think, in 2 markets all across the United States where I have a live person who lives in that market. We scrape all the local events that are happening in the area, from Eventbrite, Facebook events, all that stuff. But then I have a live human being that goes through and tries to pick the local gems, we call it, and they put it into an email newsletter, and they send it out every 2 weeks to your database. It's one of our most popular emails, and it has nothing to do with real estate. It literally just says, here's what's going on in Philadelphia the next 2 weeks. But they're seeing your brand. They're seeing you kind of as the local mayor, as Gary Vee would say. You know what's happening, and people are engaging in that engagement. Then what my superstar producers do is they go, hey, I'm going to be at the Philly Cheesesteak Festival. Any of my clients going to be there? Any of you guys going to be there? I'd love to meet up. And they start including meetups in these local events that are happening. So that would be entertainment stuff that you could do. Endearment, this one, I'm telling you, is the most powerful, but so few people are doing it. I challenge all of you to partner with something in your community where you give back. Some form of a charity in your community. It could be the SPCA, could be Boys and Girls Club, could be a food bank, could be even your church, the local Little League teams, PTA. Partner with something in your community. So one of my brother's most popular marketing campaigns is every year he raises awareness for the Agape House, which is a food bank in Lynchburg, Virginia. And what he does is he has a farm that he hits, but he has 750 people in his database that he considers his core sphere. He reaches out to them and says, I'm raising awareness, and I love to collect any canned goods that you have to donate. You can either drop them off at my office, or I can come and pick them up. So here's what he does. He takes the postcard that he sends, and he sends that out to raise awareness. Then he posts on social media, I'm raising awareness. He does this whole drive. People are coming to his office, dropping off food and saying, hey, I just want to thank you. We love what you're doing in the community. So he gets the ability to spread his brand through content as a touch point that has nothing to do with really promoting real estate, but promotes him giving back to the community. And the best part about it is he gets a face-to-face also with a social media touch point. He gets a direct mail touch point. He gets an email touch point, and he gets a face-to-face because he goes to the houses and collects the canned goods. So that one touch point of endearment to try to give back to the community allows him to hit all these different frequencies and be in front of his clients. After he collects the canned goods, he, of course, snaps the pictures. He then thanks everybody for giving, and he posts that on social media. He sends out a thank you and lets people know how much food was raised. And so he's able to be in front of his clients. You should give to charity because you care about the charity, not just because of what it can do for your business. But Eric mentioned it. There's this thing called the halo effect, that when people see you doing something good, just like an angel has a halo, they associate that good with everything else that you're doing in your business. So when they see you doing something good, they associate that's how you treat your clients. That's how you run your business. Study the Fortune 50 companies. It's pretty amazing when you look at these big companies out there. They all have these charity arms that they do. Why do they do that? They know, I mean, if they're beholden to the share, they want to raise the value of their shares. They know that consumers want to do business with businesses of purpose, not just businesses of profit. So when you look at your 26 touch points, at least have one event or one touch point campaign be around endearing content where you're giving back and you're raising awareness for some type of charity that you actually want to support. It's insanely powerful and can bring in so much business for you. All right, so let's go. You have to be frequent. You have to have impact, but you can't get business if you don't have this last one, which is trust. So when Josh and I looked at the marketing campaigns, we're like, okay, so you can blast people, which gets you known. You create impact, right, which gets you liked. How do you actually get trusted in business? Through marketing. And I think there's a myriad of ways to build trust. I want to give you guys 3 ways that you should be doing in your touchpoint system in order to generate referrals. One is accolades. So you need to share your accolades. Why? because accolades build credibility, right? When Eric intros me in, he's sharing some of my accolades. When I'm talking about me, I'm sharing some of my accolades. Why am I doing that? Why is it when you go to a conference and they introduce a speaker, they share their accolades? Because they know, hey, you might not know this speaker. So I need to build some credibility in your mind psychologically so you actually listen and you pay attention. So you need to share some of your accolades. Actually giving back to a charity can be an accolade for you. So giving back to a charity can be an accolade. You don't want to totally brag too much on what you've accomplished in giving back, but strategically putting out there. I know when we gave back to CHOP, we had articles written about that as a company, and that was an incredible tool for us to not only promote our business, but it attracted so much talent to us as well because they saw us giving back and they wanted to be a part of a company that was giving back. Now, here's the thing about showcasing your accolades. How can you do this? So as a real estate agent, you can showcase your accolades by how many homes you sold. You can showcase your accolades by not just how many homes you sold, how many years you've been in the business. You can showcase your accolades by any awards that you've won. I know we tend to make fun of the awards. I talked about this, I think, with you on a podcast, Eric. What is that award that everybody gets as a real estate agent?
There's so many. The Home Snap Award, the top
Home Snap
producer
Awards.
award. That's always a great time for me because I get to create meme content around it. But here's the fun. Here's the thing about that is agents know that that award is most likely BS. The clients don't, right?
Exactly.
I don't know if that's what we're talking about trust here, but obviously, like if you have a legit award, you do want to post about it.
Yeah, you want to post. Don't shy away. I know it seems crazy. It's like the Top Producer magazine, which is not associated with us at all. But those type of things, they do matter. They do matter in the mind of the consumer. It does make a difference. You got to showcase your accolades. You got to be careful because you don't want to brag too much. If you're new in the business and you don't have any accolades, you have your brokerage's accolades. So you join the brokerage for a reason, lean into that. How many years has the brokerage been in business in your area? What have they done? How many clients have they served? I call it the royal we in sales. Utilize the royal we. We here at, whatever brokerage you're at, we've done this, because it builds that credibility for you as a new agent to be able to showcase to people that you're actually doing something. Go ahead, Eric. I think I saw your hand raised.
Yeah, I was just going to say a couple of weeks ago, BAM actually was a study we did with the 1,000-watt was quoted in a Wall Street Journal article. And I posted about it on the Broke Agent account and the Now BAM account. And it got a ton of engagement, people reaching out and congratulating. And all that does is just show people like, hey, I'm associated with, one of the most reputable, publications in the world. And that really does help with the overall credibility because people just, initially they see BAM, it's a new startup media company, but the second it starts being posted about by something they respect, it really helps with the legitimacy of everything we're doing here. So the accolades, any reviews we post about like BAMX or any of our products or anything like that, it just takes that content to the next level.
Spot on. You're literally going to the next thing. How do you build trust? One is accolades. You got to be careful with them. I call them humble brags. Right? You got to be careful of posting too many accolades because even holding my slide up on the screen for as long as I did, it probably started making people feel like, okay, we get it. You've done stuff. You've done. So you got to be careful of how often, but don't be afraid to post that you just helped the client or that you had this award that happened. Don't be afraid. The second way is through your customer reviews. I just took some screenshots of Amazon reviews. Because I wanted to make the point here is when you go to Amazon and you go to buy a product, what's the first thing you look at? And the first thing everybody looks at is the reviews, not only the star rating, but the number of reviews. You've got to get reviews. So one hack that I'll give you for reviews, I mentioned my brother did a pie event. Well, one of the things we were doing 3 years, I think ago, or 2.5 years ago, something like that, is he was setting up his Google business profile because we hadn't gone hard into Google business. And we didn't have any reviews. He had reviews on Zillow. He had reviews on Facebook, but he didn't have any reviews on his Google business profile. So we did this pie event. So at your events, when you invite your sphere, get reviews at the event. What we did was we set up his laptop. He was ready to go with his phone, laptop, and he asked people to give him a review at the pie event. And he ended up getting 67 5-star reviews at his pie event. And what's interesting, Google didn't flag him, But I've heard that if you get too many reviews at one time, Google might flag you. So if you do a pie event, or if you do an event and you ask for reviews at their event, which I would highly, highly recommend, just make sure you get maybe like 10 reviews, 5 reviews, get the rest on different platforms. So have all the different platforms up, and then also video those reviews. Take video of those reviews so you can use them on your social. You can use them in your marketing. So reviews are insanely powerful. Posting about your accolades is insanely powerful. And here's the last way to build trust. That's the hardest, but it's the most effective. It's putting out educational content on your subject matter. You need to put out educational content on your subject matter consistently. When you think about the 26 touch points that I told you, I said education, entertainment, endearment. 60% of what you're putting out is educational content. You need to be known as what I call as the SME, which is the subject matter expert on your industry. So you see on the screen right now, just a screenshot of our TikTok. We have a podcast, like I mentioned, Stay Paid. Stay Paid is one of our versions of putting out educational content. So ReminderMedia, what do I want to be known for? Not real estate. I want to be known for marketing. So we started a podcast as just one medium of distribution. And we started it about almost 6 years ago or so. The first 3 years, nobody listened to our podcast. Like nobody listened to our podcast. I come from a family of 8 kids. My siblings weren't really even listening, and shame on my, siblings. Nobody was listening. For 3 years, we put out episodes on Monday and Thursday. All of a sudden, it started taking off. All of a sudden, we got our first guest. All of a sudden, it started to build and build and build. And now we're frequently in the top 30 of marketing podcasts on Apple. We now get to interview incredible people like Eric, incredible people like Byron. I've become a BAM contributor because for 3 years, I put out educational content on sales and marketing that nobody listened to. I took that content and I put it through emails. I put it on social. I had it through the podcast feed. I put it even in my magazine. We have a whole magazine dedicated to the content that we have off of our podcast. I used all these different mediums, practicing what I preach, frequency, creating impact, because I'm trying to deliver actual relevant content to the people who need. And it ended up getting me here, because I interviewed Byron and Eric and then started to build a relationship with them. And then from there, now I've become a BAM contributor. And now I'm on this webinar getting to meet all of you, which is amazing, all because I put out educational content consistently. Why is it the hardest one? Because it took 3 years with no return. It's the hardest one because it took 3 years for no return. Why is it the most powerful? Because I have 6 years of content spread across every medium, and I get to repurpose it and reuse it, and it is out there in the ecospace, and people can Google me and see all this content, and now it's built upon itself exponentially. So I can post my accolades to build trust. I can post testimonials, which are good, but the real thing that has helped me build trust, which plays into, and this is another topic, SEO and all this other stuff, is I put out educational content consistently, day after day, year after year. So what am I trying to get across to everybody on this webinar? Look, you want listings out of your sphere. 65% of all listings come from your sphere, come from referral and repeat business. So if you're a gambling person, you're going to go to Vegas, put your money on a place where 65% return. I'll take it back to the initial.
Where is that place? 65% return in Vegas? I haven't found that place yet, Luke.
Exactly. It'd be amazing. We'd be there all the time. So think about it. 65%. So are you focusing 65% of your effort on your database? So then go, okay, I hear what you're saying, Luke. You're giving the example, your brother in 5 years scaled to 320 deals in a year. Last year, I worked with 59,000 clients last year. 59,000. I'm saying that to tell you, hey, go look at your touch point system to your database and go, do I have at least 26? Am I spread across multiple frequencies? At least 2. At least 2. You don't have to do all 6 to start out, but at least 2. One of them that I would tell you no brainer to do is a client event, a face-to-face. So if you just want to do the email or a print piece and do a client event, there you go. There's 2 frequencies for you that you can do, but spread it across multiple frequencies. Then implement impact. How do you get impact? Stop marketing to people just with transactional information. Market to people with education, entertainment, and endearment. And then last but not least, showcase to them that you are the knowledge broker. You're the subject matter expert by building trust. So I want to give you guys an example of like one of my products that we do. Now, at this point of the webinar, it's always, awkward because I want to give you my elevator pitch for my product because I'm passionate about it. But you do by no means need our product to implement what I just said. You can do it with other products. You might have companies now that do it, but I want you to know, why is Luke so passionate about this? Why does he believe in it? Why did he convince his brother to do it? I want to share it with you today because I know it works. People ask me all the time, they've seen our branded magazines where we create a magazine for clients. So it's basically, think white labeling a magazine. We give you the ability to have your own Better Homes and Garden magazine going to your client base, but you don't have to do any of the work. We do all the content. We brand it to you. There's no other ads. It's just you and great content. The reason why it works is, think about it. It's frequent. It's a subscription. People come to expect it. When you get a magazine, it's a subscription, like you come to expect it, but it's also frequencies, meaning it's not just one channel. It's print for the mailbox, but there's a digital magazine that people send an email. They text it to people. All the content in your magazines, the magazines are 48 pages. All the content can now be shared across social media. So our clients then take the content, share it across social media. So then if you think about that, you then go down to, okay, well, how do you create impact? You create impact through personalization. Well, in our magazine, we allow the ability to personalize down to the individual. So I can literally write Eric a birthday letter just to him in his magazine. I can customize on the back cover of the magazine. If I wanted to say, hey, want to know what your home's worth? And scan this QR code, get an idea of what your home's worth. I could do that right there on the magazine. Not only that, I can actually customize it and have content that's educational, entertaining, and endearing. Meaning the content in the 48 pages isn't just listings. The content in the 48 pages, both digitally and print, is all just about giving to the client: travel, art, food, things that they would enjoy. And then last but not least, it gives you the ability to build trust. You can showcase your accolades in your magazine. You can showcase the awards you've won. You can showcase your knowledge, right? Educational content by the market reports. 3 things you need to know if you're a first-time home buyer. You can elevate, not only are you in a magazine, but you can elevate that credibility by showcasing your knowledge. And then you can showcase your client testimonials. So this is just one example, but I want to give you this example, one, because I love this product. I know it's amazing. And because I believe in it, I want to put it in front of you, and I want you guys to get a sample. But 2 is I want you to see that, okay, for the last literally 18 years, we've been doing this magazine and have transitioned. And as we looked at the data and as we look at the response for people, people go, Luke, the reason why I love this is because it's frequent for me, goes out, I don't have to worry about it. It's content that clients love, so they actually keep it. And then I get to showcase my expertise by actually customizing the covers, tarot cards to showcase me as the subject matter expert, my awards, what I've done. That's really been the secret to what we've been doing at ReminderMedia with the magazine. That then ventured us into digital marketing because it went digital, and we have a bunch of different options there, but that really has been our secret sauce. So if you want a sample of it, chat in sample. I would love to get you a sample out, or you can go to, we have a remindermedia.com/BAM sample. You can get a sample on that page as well. Remindermedia.com/BAM sample.
We just dropped it in the chat. So if you're not in the chat right now, go into the chat and you can click on the link too. BAM is posting it frequently.
And then here's what I challenge you to think about for your database right now as you walk away. You go, okay, I need to go look and go, do I have 26 touch points spread across multiple frequencies? And 26 is just the start. Am I doing education, entertainment, and endearment? And then from the education, entertainment, and endearment, am I building trust by showcasing my accolades and testimonials? And then here's the key part. Am I using my touch points to generate a conversation? Every touch point in my years of doing this, every touch point should have one goal and one goal alone, is to get you in front of your clients so you can ultimately strengthen the relationship to have a conversation with that person. So if I use the magazine as an example and I send it to Eric, I'm picking up the phone and I'm using the voice-to-voice frequency to now call Eric and say, Eric, was just thinking about you today, brother. I just got my latest magazine, good to be home. It reminded me, I'm sending it to you as a gift. Hey, I send it all my best relationships. There's a great blueberry pancake recipe in there Megan and I made last weekend. It's phenomenal. You should try it. How's life been going for you, man? I'm using it as my non-salesy way to call. Or maybe I don't want to call Eric and I wake up today and I go, hey, I just want to hit 5 people in my database. I take my touch point, whatever you have, if it's a piece of content, and you just text one of the people in your database, hey, was thinking about you today. Hey, thought you might enjoy this blueberry pancake recipe. Megan and I tried it last week and it was phenomenal. We haven't caught up in a while. I can't believe it's been 2 years since you've been in the house there at Store Road. Hope you're doing well. And
I was just thinking about you today. There's a new game in Vegas that guarantees you 65% of the time you're going to win. Let's go to Vegas right now and do it.
Yeah.
That's how you get my attention right there. I would staple your magazine to my chest if that was the case.
People ask me all the time, one is, Luke, why does a magazine actually work and how are you in print in 2024? It's crazy. Actually, print is, we see value going up on, and I'm also in, just so you guys know, I'm biased towards print because I have print, but I do Facebook ads for people. We do digital marketing, just email marketing for people. So we have a suite of tools and products. This is our flagship and most popular. But print, the average mailbox is receiving only like 7 pieces of mail versus the average inbox receiving about 100 emails. And we all know where social has gone with the amount of content and posting and the organic reach. So there's a little bit less noise in print. But the reason I say to people, it's really not about a magazine. It's not about an email. It's not about any of that. It's about how do I build relationships and have a conversation with my clients. Most people don't think about their touch points that way. They think about, oh, I set up my monthly email, I'm good to go. And it's like, no, your monthly email is not going to do anything for you because Kohl's has their email, TJ Maxx has their email, the auto mechanic has their email. Think about it as a consumer. That doesn't do anything for you. What you've got to think to yourself is going, hey, I have 300 people in my database. How do I get to know their family, occupation, recreation, dreams? How do I have real conversations with them? And how do I set up touch points that I would be proud to talk about, that I would be proud to reference? So that's why when my brain goes to touch points, you need your market reports. We do that for people to be able to customize on their stuff. But I go, man, it's so much easier to talk about the local events that are happening. Hey, Susan, was thinking about you and the kids today. Hope you guys are having, loving life right now. Hey, I thought you might want to see the local events that are happening in the next 2 weeks in Philly. Hope you're doing well. That's so much easier to have a natural touch point on. All right, so I'm going to wrap up there. And I can't, for some reason on my screen, it doesn't show me the chat. Maybe because I'm sharing my screen. Let me stop sharing. Now I can see the chat. So okay, awesome.
Yeah, a lot of people saying they use these magazines have found tremendous success from it. I don't know if these are plants or if these are real people. I think they're real people.
These are all my AI bots. That's another thing we can do another webinar on. All my
no, Michael Rowland, I know him. He messaged me about this too, saying like, oh, I know Luke. I've been using Reminder for 5 years, so that's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, we dropped the link in the chat there.
Awesome. So that was a ton of information thrown at you guys.
Yeah.
I know. Like I said, if you walk away and you apply just 1 or 2 of those tactics, you will be blown away if you stay consistent in it. But the challenge is staying consistent. That's the challenge.
Yeah. And everybody listening to this too, you got to follow Luke Acree, follow his Instagram. He's putting out a tremendous amount of great content on marketing for real estate agents. We've been collabing with him a bunch. We'll drop his Instagram in the chat as well. And follow ReminderMedia. Follow the Stay Paid podcast. Go listen to the best episode of the Stay Paid podcast with myself, Byron Lazine. I think you've had a bunch of other BAM creators on there as well. We're going to be throwing an event in Philadelphia by you, a BAM camp event. But everybody, listen to this. This is the first time we're announcing this in public. We are throwing our first in-person event of the year, June 6th on the East Coast. Luke, you will be there, right?
I will be there.
Yes, a BAM camp, June 6th in Washington, D.C., so we will drop a link to that as well. And we have a great speaker lineup, and all of BAMX members get 25% off all of our events. So it's worth joining BAMX just to get 25% off these events. So right now for the next 24 hours to get in BAMX, use code FIT for the FIT marketing framework. If you're watching this right now, this is how you're going to get this code. Use code FIT at checkout for 15% off your BAM Max. Get the annual subscription as well. That's all of our courses, our live streams, our trainings, and our mastermind as well. We just dropped a course on how to use ChatGPT. We have a new course in there every month. Next month, I'm updating the Instagram course. It is a great community to learn how to convert your followers into leads. So check that out as well. We are dropping a link. Luke, anything else here? Any events on your radar? Any content coming up for you?
Yeah. I mean, we have a geographic farming webinar coming up. I'll get you the link and we can send it out to everybody. I'll send it out to everybody because I don't want to mess up the date and time. But we have a geographic farming webinar right around the corner. So if you want to know how to master a geo farm, which is different than your sphere, right? Different amount of touch points, stuff like that. We have a whole thing because we do a lot of postcards for people for geographic farming. So we have a whole training on that you can tune into totally for free. So that's coming up. I'll get that out to you. And then, yeah, tune in. I would love to follow you. I'd love to be more part of this community. So everybody who's on here, I want to get to know you. Like, I'm so excited to be part of BAM. I feel honored. So please follow me on Luke Acree.
We're honored to have you. And we had Luke speak in BAMX last week or a couple of weeks ago too. We were kind of doing a live Q&A with our members. So we have that bi-weekly mastermind in there. So make sure you get into BAMX with code FIT for 15% off. Go follow Luke because the type of content this guy's putting out is extremely valuable. Check out Reminder. Check out the Stay Paid podcast. And Luke, may the force be with you. Thank you for doing this. And everybody, thank you for spending an hour with us. That was so much good information. That was just 50 minutes straight, rapid fire. People were saying like, oh my God, like take a breath. What's going on? This is just so much good information. So we really appreciate you putting that entire presentation together for us and spending this hour with us. And of course, everybody that tuned in, I know you got showings, inspections, open houses, probably not on a Wednesday at 4 Eastern, but anytime you spend time with us, we truly do appreciate it. And we look forward to throwing more digital events like this. And another sneak peek. You ready for this? Bamchella. How about that? We just did the BAM Pro Bowl. We got a new one, Bamchella, coming out. So we will be sending out the sign up link for that. That'll be a free virtual event. And Luke, we definitely want to have you involved in that as well. So thank you so much, everybody, for attending. And